Are you a business owner or have you become a full-time unpaid content slave? Hi, I'm Clint Griffin, and today on the Unselling philosophy, we're going to look at ways for you to feed the beast without it turning into a full-time job, losing your sanity, and probably your Sundays doing it as well. Sound good? Let's look at it. We're going to look at giving you a system that generates 10 to 20 high-quality pieces of content. This is quality of the content from one, let's call it source code video, that you can do anytime you wish. Okay. Now, we're stuck in kind of a burnout loop, which is not cool. And what that means is we don't seem to have enough time. We're trying to create new content, and we're trying to do it polished, and we're trying to do that daily. And it becomes a recipe for exhaustion. And you feel like there's zero ROI. Have you noticed that the things you're doing lately don't quite have the same bang as they used to? Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. There's a saturation of stuff, and there's a saturation of stuff that doesn't really mean anything. And we're going about it in a way that we're trying to be content creators rather than the job that we do. Like, what do we actually do for a living? That's more important than being a content creator, unless you are a content creator. And there's a misconception. And the misconception is that we are all creators. We need to script, we need to stage, we need to make things picture perfect and Instagram quality amazing. Where we really need to document what we do, because that's the reality of how things work. How do you fix a tap? How do you go about doing a marketing strategy? I'm trying to show you that kind of stuff. And you should as well, because it's much more interesting. I don't need the polished end result from you, okay? And we're going to use the source code, that one piece of content, that pillar, as that raw material that you can use to turn into these little nuggets that come out all the time. So how do we do that? Well, there's an agitation, right? The social media beast, it eats your time, it eats your energy, it makes you feel too tired, and you feel like the content has failed because you're not reaching a whole bunch of people. So I've spoken to a good few clients lately, and they're saying their reach is really low. They're getting 1 or 2 likes and a couple of hundred people seeing it. And there's reasons for that. Link in your content, bad idea. Link in the comments, good idea. Facebook has just said they're going to hurt that a lot more than they have in the past. If that's possible, they've also created premium tiers where you can pay to play. And if you pay Facebook, not paid ads, but pay them as a subscriber to become verified, you can then post 1 or 2 links. And the packages got from, I think, 49 US to 500 a month. That's probably not the way you want to do it. I'd prefer to run paid ads if that was the story. So we don't need more hours. Let's shift that up, right? We need to do the right things at the right time, and we're going to put it through like an AI shredder. And what that's going to do is give it a one-to-many mindset. So the content you do, how can we turn that into things that reach many people and make them excited or interested, or give them some value for the things that you're putting out and the energy you're putting into this, okay? And what it gives you is freedom. It gives you a freedom to look at the pillar method, find one thing to talk about, and then build a dominant brand in New Zealand or wherever you are, right, that tells that single story, and then cut that up into pieces that relate to that bigger story and tell little nuggets that people can put out. The idea is to spend 2 hours maximum on camera a week. That's it, okay? So what do we do? How do we do that, okay? Well, documenting is quite natural, and creating content, making it perfect, is quite hard. You need the right setup, you need the right lighting, you need the microphones, you need a whole bunch of things to make it work. You need a script if you're going to do it that way, and you need to make sure that everything is perfect. But when you document it, you're simply showing the natural process of how you work. So I was working with a client the other day, and they were saying, I can't really find the time. I feel unnatural when I'm talking. And there were 2 partners, and they were chatting. And I just turned the camera on them as they chatted. And in 5 minutes, I think they answered most of the queries that people are going to have around their business. And I played it back to them, and I said, there you go. That's you guys talking. Look how amazing that content is. And we turned that into a strategy where I just document them talking, and they talk about the problems. And that content is like so much more real. Oh yes, I remember that Mary needed something and we did it this way. Oh wow, that reminds me of something else. And it shows the process of how they do it, the documentation, in a much better way that you're going to get by trying to do a full-on perfect video every time. Okay, and the quantity that you do will lead to quality, because When you do this, when you're unscripted, when you're running through things that you know naturally about the business, you're the professional, it seems to resonate much better with people, and it's the quality of that content that people want. So let's do that. And let's be honest, authenticity in this game beats overproduction. You can make something slick, you can't polish a turd, but you can make things slick, but is the content really there? I've seen many blockbuster movies, and so have you, where the production's amazing, but there's no real story, it doesn't really mean anything. You come out of that 2.5 hours later thinking, what did I just waste my time on? I can't get that time back in my life, so don't do that. So we're going to focus only on one source code video. That's what you need to do. Find one thing that you can talk about over a period of time. It doesn't have to be long. Make it 10 minutes, make it 5, right? And then break that up into 30-second bits. Break it up into 12-second bits. Things that work, and you'll find those natural edit points. You can take your video, you can upload it to YouTube. You can use something like Notebook LM to go through that video and say, hey, here's my video. Please can you pull out of that 10 little snippets that I should be using for my content? And it will tell you which ones to use. And you can go and edit that in CapCut or something like that. And then you've got it. Upload some AI music to it. It's free as part of the package. I think it's $40 a month. And suddenly you've got this content that works. You can add some captions and you're ready to go. And that's going to take you 2 hours. And once you found the gold nuggets, those are the things that people resonate with. Then check them, see which ones work. If they're working really well, maybe you want to promote that at some point. If they're not, don't worry about it, because it's just another piece of content. And look at the channels you're on and make sure the content you're doing is relevant. So you've got to look at things like which channel is short form and really fun, and which channel is a bit longer form and more kind of in depth, right? And your ideas that you have, they're the fuel to drive this. And your AI and the tools you have is simply the delivery. So you have an idea of a script, you can ask it to help you with that and tell you what you need to do. And you can then talk about it and document your idea for the week. And then you can use that AI tool to say, this is the content I've done. Can you now please show me which pieces I can break into shorter bits? Then you can do the content and then you're going, right? You've got to tailor it for New Zealand or whatever market you're in. So let's think about that. What is LinkedIn? LinkedIn is about being pro. So the content you're going to put out there is probably longer format. There might be a video, or you might take the video and cut it down into text that you can use as a post. Okay, where TikTok is very raw. It's just you talking or video or dancing or whatever it is that you do, and telling that story in an authentic way. Always follow the 2-hour rule. So make sure that you don't spend more than 2 hours doing this. I probably spend that a week, and I do a lot of content. But it's this little video is going to take me 10 minutes, and then the editing is going to take me maybe another 40 or 50, because I kind of know what I'm doing, okay? And then remember this, that omnipresence, that whole idea of being everywhere, is trust. So the more places you can be, the better, but make sure that the places you are, the content that you do, is relevant to that channel. So don't place short, interesting videos that seem great for a TikTok audience on LinkedIn. They're not going to have the same result. And people aren't going to find it as engaging because they're expecting different content. Now you can take the same video and post it across, but your write-up and your blurb that goes with it can be longer or shorter depending on which channel you're on. Or you can take slightly longer pieces of content, put that onto, say, LinkedIn, and then tell a story around it. Okay, so that's what you kind of need to be doing. And that is the way you will win. So really, the wrap here is stop creating, start documenting the things that you do, and have a list. Have 10, 20 ideas. Say, I'm going to document these over the next 10 weeks or quarter or whatever it is. Record that 1 20-minute, 10-minute expert video, that session. Do it in the next 48 hours, because if you don't, you're not going to. And then post it. Shred it into smaller bits, post that again, and reclaim your week and your energy. And if you can do that, you're going to find content that resonates. You're going to document the things you do. You're going to be on the right channels with the right pieces of appropriate content for those audiences. And you're probably going to see an upreach in the returns that you get, because then you can check each video and see which ones resonate. There might be a piece of nugget in there that works for you. So that's it for this week. Very quick, very short. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with another edition of the Unselling Philosophy. I'm Clint Griffin. Like, comment, share, reach out, talk about it, tell me what you think, and we'll be back soon. Have an amazing day.